we have to learn to love and be a part of every facet of a person's life, right? If you want to cut somebody off for who they are as a whole, not because you didn't like that they did one thing on one day. And I'm talking to myself when I say this as well. Just because a person said something you didn't like doesn't mean they're a terrible person. Okay, hey, thank you, Morgan, for joining the podcast. We are live on TikTok as well. TikTok, man, come on over to, I guess, YouTube. Come on over to YouTube. We're doing a live recording of this podcast on YouTube as well. If you guys want to be interactive in the chat and stuff like that. Thank you guys so much for joining on TikTok. But this is gonna be mostly on YouTube. I'm also live on the Purple app as well. I'm doing this whole streaming shit on multiple platforms. No, for real. Okay, further. All right, come on. Whether you guys are watching on TikTok, whether you guys watching on YouTube, or whether you guys are watching on Twitch on the Purple app, I want to thank y'all so much for being here. All right, so we're gonna get started. We're gonna do a live recording of the Cool Down Den. For anybody who does not know, that is my podcast where we do every Sunday at 3 p.m. We start a little bit later this week because I changed it up. But for the next 3 weeks, we're talking about community. All right, we're talking about community as a whole and why it no longer really exists like that inside of the United States. You know, I feel like other countries, other cultures have community, but we don't have community as much as we should here in the United States. And so that's what we're talking about today. All right, we're talking about community, and I think I'm gonna start this episode by saying my story, and stuff like that. We're telling my story, and we're talking about how I came about this thought process, right? So for anybody who does not know, this week's episode was supposed to be talking about a trend that I saw on TikTok, that I saw on other places, talking about how men are not spending their money as much as they used to on women, and they're being financially celibate. Men are becoming financially celibate, and I thought that was so funny. I thought that was so hilarious. But in doing my due diligence, trying to find guests for this podcast, as you can tell, this is my first solo episode as well. I've never done a solo episode of the Cool Down Den, and so this is my first solo episode. But when I was trying to find guests for this episode, I was having a hard time finding guests because I don't know if it was. What's up, Telly? How you doing? As well, make sure you guys tune in on YouTube. I'm live on YouTube and TikTok. You know, Big Stu Gaming on all platforms. Yeah, so when I was looking for guests for this episode, it was kind of hard to find guests, especially female guests, because a lot of females was talking about, you gonna spend money regardless. Why are the men so adamant about spending money? Blah blah blah. It got real toxic real quick when I was looking for guests, right? I was looking for guests to just be on the episode. And like I didn't even dive into the questions of the podcast or nothing like that. I was just trying to find guests to be on the episode. And it got real toxic because it's like, yo, like a lot of women are not liking that these men are out here saying, I'm not spending no more money on you until we get married. The same way women is talking about, I'm not throwing no coochie at you until we get married. So it became real toxic. And I said, you know what? That's not really what I want to talk about, right? That's not really like, yeah, I thought it'd be kind of cool, kind of be funny. Hey, tell you how you doing? But yeah, that'd be kind of funny. But at the same time, it's not like what I want my brand to be, right? My brand is going to be about the controversy. Yeah, it's definitely going to be the controversy for sure. My brand is about community, right? And it's about growing who you are as a person, becoming a better person, the love within, and that we all share together, right? And so I was like, okay, so let me just repivot. I literally had this thought this morning. I was like, yo, let's repivot. Let's repivot this. The next 2 weeks are talking about community. And so why not just start it off? So this is episode 1 of a 3-part series that we're going to do for the next 3 weeks. All right. This is episode 1 of a 3-part series. My first time ever doing like a series on the podcast. And we're doing, we got this week, we got next week, where we're talking about isolationism. How everyone nowadays just isolates themselves away from the world, This is just my story. This week is just my story when it comes to community. Next week we're talking about isolationism, how people isolate and don't really build communities that like we used to as we did growing up. Because like shit, I don't know about y'all on TikTok, I don't know about y'all, on any other platform, but for me, when I grew up, I had a community. Right? Well, I'm gonna get into when I tell my story, but I had a community, and things were a lot different than what they used to be. Right? They used to be a lot different, and nowadays, I feel like the community is just not as strong as it used to be. And everyone's always just, they're not looking out for other people anymore. They just look out for themselves, right? So that's what we're talking about next week. We're talking about why everyone is so isolationist. And then week 3, we're going to round it all together. We're talking about Willie Lynch, right? If anyone does not know who Willie Lynch is, we're going to talk about it, all right? And why he's so detrimental, or what he did, and what he taught, is still being implemented in America today. All right. What Willie Lynch taught is still being implemented in America to this day. And it's still affecting black people to this day. It's still affecting other cultures to this day. Right. So that's week 3. So this week is, my story. Next week, isolationism. And the week after that, talking Willie Lynch. So that's going to 3-episode series for this entire month that we're doing on podcast. So for anybody watching, whether you on TikTok, whether you on YouTube, whether you on Twitch, man, thank you so much for tuning in. With that being said, let's get started. I did a nice little intro. Let's get started. Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna tell my story, and this is gonna be a little bit of a heartfelt story for myself. I've never really told my story like that before, but I think it needs to be told. Right? I woke up this morning, and I pivoted from what the podcast was supposed to be, because I felt like in my spirit I need to tell my story. I need to tell the story of Stu and why I felt like I haven't had a community for a while. Community is definitely something that, hey, thank you so much for the likes. Thank you, Pillow Princess, for the likes on TikTok. Community is something that is not shared anymore, right? It's not something that's as big as it used to be. And so that is something that I want to talk about, right? And so first and foremost, I'm going to start with myself. I was born in Cleveland, Ohio. Okay? Cleveland, Ohio. Grew up in a my mom worked really hard to get us out of Cleveland and get us to a little rural city called Kent. If anybody went to Kent State University, same city, right? So I grew up in Kent. Kent is just a small town, right? It's a small town. I don't know how many people, probably like 50, 60,000 people. I don't know. It's so small. It's not big at all, right? Hey Telly, thank you for joining the live. Thanks for the likes. But it's not big at all. Kent is not a big city. Maybe it might have like 1 million people. Maybe. It's small. It's not a huge metropolis. But the whole point of me saying this is because even in Kent, when I grew up, right, it was really small, but it was very tight knit. It has one movie theater, it has one high school, it has one high school, one middle school, one middle school, yeah, one high school, one middle school, and like 5 or 6 elementary schools inside the city, right? Uh, so when you have a town like that, right, where there's not a lot of different schools, not a lot of different things, and everyone funnels into one place, everyone knows everyone, right? Everyone knows everyone. And so that community drives something, right? I made a joke with us from a couple podcasts. Stu, when you edit this YouTube video, make sure you put that clip from the previous podcast into this right here. But I made a joke about how I couldn't get away with nothing. Like, I couldn't get away with shit growing up because, like, everyone knew my mama, right? Everyone knew my mama. And so I couldn't really get away with anything. Like, when you live in a big town or you live in like a non-rural cities like this, if you do some shit, there's a likelihood that you could do stuff and your parents won't find out about it, right? But I couldn't do that in Kent because whatever I did, my mom would find out. Like, if the police pulled me over, they wouldn't take me to jail. They'll take me home and tell my mama what happened. Like, it's one of those type of towns, right? And so it was really cool because that sense of community, not only is it good for raising a child in that type of community, but it helps you foster self-esteem and growth and love all within that same semblance, right? Because when something goes wrong, you don't just shun somebody and get on their ass. You get on their ass, but you tell them why it's wrong and how to do better, right? The elders of the community really helped and talk to they talk. and actually shelter them as well. Even if you're outside the home, you still was always protected. You still were always protected. You still were always cared for, even if you weren't at home, right? And so, really, the entire city of Kent was my home. The entire city. And so, even when I left the house, I didn't feel scared because I knew it got to a point where I was like, okay, well, all right, whatever. I can go down the street. I can go walk to this. I can go. I can walk. The entire city was my oyster, as some people would say, right? And so, okay, I didn't see if somebody see me. See, yeah, so I really didn't know what it was like to go outside the city because there was no need to. I got everything I needed inside that city, right? Is that my freaking thing? Is that a computer? Is that okay? That's a computer. So I say that to say I felt very safe and protected in my city because everyone knew each other. And growing up, it was just, I just felt safe, right? It wasn't until I moved away in middle school, right? We moved away due to some unforeseen things, a death in the family, you know, some people passed away. And so we ended up moving to Arizona, right? When I got to Arizona, obviously that community is just gone, right? It was the first time I ever experienced not having a community. And I didn't know why it just felt different. Like, and it was just crazy to me how even on the West Coast, it wasn't as bad as it is today. But it was still kind of crazy that like, yo, people really don't they're a lot more guarded, right? There's a lot more walls, right? Okay. There's a lot more guarded, a lot more walls. And I was like, why? Like, in Kent, nobody locked their doors. What do you need to lock doors for? I I used to be not. I would knock on the door not because I wanted you to let me in, but to let you know I'm coming in. Like what? That was just how I grew up. Like we didn't. People knocked on our door. Hey Stu, tell your brother, tell Sam I'm here. All right, cool. He'd come in. He would sit on the couch, watch TV until my brother Sam was ready, and they'd go out play basketball, whatever. Like there was no, hey, let me in the house. There was, I'm knocking on the door to let you know I'm coming in the house, right? Now I understand that that definitely changed with a lot of things that's happened, right? A lot of things that's happened. Like you have crime is at an all time high. There's a lot of things going on where people are just doing stuff to kids and like it's crazy out here. It's crazy out here. So I definitely understand. Like now that I'm grown, I understand why that has cut down some and why you know a lot of people got into the mindset of protect your own, right? And so I get that. I get that. I understand that. I just thought it was just like nowadays when I went back and I was thinking about it, like yo, there was some good times back in the day, man. Like really, I would just go to my homeboy Mario's house. I would knock on the door. Hey Mario, you coming out? Nah, I'm coming up. Simple. Like we about to play video games and you ain't coming outside to play. All right, we're gonna go upstairs to play video games. You know? And you was I would say hi to everybody, say hi to everybody in the family, say hi to my brother, hi to my boy Mario's brothers, I mean sisters, because he don't got no brothers. But hi to my, I was like, hey Hannah, hey Faye, hey TT, hey mama, and I'll call his mama because like that was also my mama. Like, I just call her mama and my mama's mom. Like, but the point I'm trying to get across here is it was a community. Everywhere I went, there was a community. And it wasn't weird for me to think that way. It wasn't weird for me to just, you know, there was respect, there was boundaries, but there was never there's no access, right? And I think that's the point I'm trying to make here is we need to get back to community in America, bro. Especially, especially right now. Especially right now. We are being attacked. And I'm not, this is not a race thing. This is for everybody. We are being attacked right now from everybody on the outside, bro. Whether it's the politicians, to people from other countries, to just like our community, our sense of just our real true peace is being attacked right now. And yeah, that's really what that's what I'm talking about today. Because in the next 3 weeks, this week and next 2 weeks is like we're being attacked, bro. And and when you really get down and you think about it, they're always preaching, you don't need anybody. You don't need anybody. You don't need anybody. You're cool by yourself. You know? Whether it's feminism or whether it's this red pill shit or whether it's just everybody, they're always preaching you don't need anybody. You can do bad all by yourself. You don't need, or if you do need somebody, it's to get some money and that's it. We're taught how to use people, but not how to love people. And that's what I want to get to, right? It's community is everything, is what keeps us going for sure. Exactly, Telly. Exactly. What's up, Sad Man? Thanks for joining the YouTube chat. But yeah, people are just like, we're getting to a place here it's really hard. Like, to the other day, like I was in somebody's stream the other day. If you guys don't know, I stream, and I also am. I live on Twitch. I'm in streams all the time, all the time. And I'm on streams all the time, and so I pop in, I pop out. But right now, it's gotten to the point to where I was in a friend's stream, and she was talking about another friend of hers. Oh my god! Okay, tell it with the finger hearts. I don't know what that is, but I need to figure out what that is on TikTok. We're gonna figure it out. I need to learn what that is. But thank you so much for the love, Telly. But yeah, so I was in a friend stream, and she was complimenting another friend of hers, and I also know of that streamer. Right? I have not been in their stream like that. I popped by once, but she plays a game that I really don't like. Like, that's her game, that's her thing. I was like, all right, cool. I know of her. I've popped in her stream, but that's it, right? I just popped in, saw she playing a game I really didn't like. I was like, okay, and I left. Simple as that. Not because I didn't like her, but just I didn't like that game, right? I just didn't like that game. Now, I do know that she's a very beautiful female. She's super beautiful. She has some super cute dimples and stuff like that. Like, so when the compliment was said was, "Oh my god, I love your cheeks and your dimples and stuff like that," all I commented was like, "Yo, like, yeah, I also like that." Right? Yeah, she is. She does have cute stuff. But the initial thought was, who are you to talk? You're not even, you've never been around. And so I had thought about that, like, yo, like, that's kind of crazy to say. Like, but at the same time, I get it. I talked to some friends about it. I get it. Like, I'm just some random nigga on the internet, and my bad for cussing. I don't know if I can say it on TikTok, but or YouTube. But yes, I get it. So I was like, okay, so I had to bring it back in, and so instead of getting heart broken up about that comment that they said to me, I think I was like, you know what, that person is right. That person's right. I haven't really stopped by that community like that. I did just make a quick judgment based off of a video game. I just know I don't like that game, and I never really stopped by the community. They might have been playing that game just for that one day, and I haven't really stopped by since. But that's just that just shows that we're so quick to make judgments nowadays. Even myself. I went to their stream, I saw a game I just didn't like, and I never went back. Even though she's probably a super awesome creator. She's probably a super awesome creator, and her streams are probably super cool, but you know, I just never went back, right? So I said that to say, we gotta, as a community, right? And I'm trying to make this a well thought out, well educated, flowing podcast that's solo. I've never really done a solo podcast before. I've always had somebody, but today I'm just talking. I'm just talking about community, bro. We need to get back to it. We need to get back to it. So that's why I love the community on TikTok. I love the community on Twitch, on YouTube. We need to get back to it. We need to get back to it for sure. Because, man, when I think about my life, man, and how when I left and I moved to Arizona, and just the difference of feeling, of how, like, and I felt like I ended up becoming a thing that I didn't like. I felt like I had to do a certain thing to become liked. I had to move a certain way. I had to talk a certain way. I had to look a certain shape. I had to be a certain thing just to fit into this mold of whatever the group that I wanted to be in, right? And so I never got to be myself. So when I was myself growing up, even if there was parts of the community that didn't, rock with me, it was cool. Like, I was able to be myself as someone would be cool. But now it's just like, nowadays you have to fit a certain mold to get access to a certain room, right? Instead of just everyone being community, bro. Here's the thing about a city, a community, or whatever. Everybody loves and cherishes everybody. This does not mean you have to agree with everybody. Because here's something I found out just in my 30 years of life. You can love somebody and not like them. You can love somebody and not like them at all. You don't have to like them, but you can still love them. You can still want the best for them. You can still, you can still rock with them, but you don't gotta like them at all. There's a lot of people that I love, and I just don't like that motherfucker. I just don't like them, but I love them. I love them though. I wish the best for them. I wish no harm on them, and I wish nowadays people need to get to that. The amount of scammers we have, the amount of people who are just okay with hurting someone else to get what they want is not cool. It's not cool. I'm gonna say this right here. So I mean, this is me just yapping this week. Like I didn't really have a script. Like I normally have some type of a script for the podcast, or I have some guests to help fill the void, or I have just whatever. Right. This week is not that. This week I wasn't doing that. Next week is you know I still need some guests for next week. That's 2 weeks. So TikTok or anybody watching, if y'all want to be guests on the podcast, hit me up, DM me. Let's get you on the pod for next week. But next week we're talking about isolationism, right? How did this all start? Because I do want to know. I want to know. I want to pick y'all brains, man, about what do y'all think? How did this start? Like, when did we become a nation of singles? When did we become a nation of just people, just everybody's for themselves? Nobody if for nobody else. Well, hello there. Finally caught one. Hey, Winter, how you doing? Yeah, when did we become a nation of just isolationists? Everybody is for themselves. No one is for somebody else, right? And so that's what I want to talk about. It started when COVID hit. Okay. Okay. But here's the thing, and I like that. I like you said that. I like you said that. Um, it started when COVID hit, but I think it goes. I think it goes past that, right? I think it goes past that. I think because maybe it's just me personally, but in my life, I felt like it definitely started a little bit before that as well. YouTube chat, what y'all think, man? What y'all think, YouTube? Do you think it started when COVID started, or TikTok? Let me know. Do y'all think that it started when COVID started, where everyone was isolationist, or did it start before that? I feel like people just been, let me know what y'all think. No one knows how to socialize and interact with each other anymore. That is true. People do not know how to socialize. I think people, they not just socialize or interact. I'm gonna say it this way. I'm gonna take what you said and I'm gonna reword it this way. Winner. People don't know how to communicate anymore. No one knows how to communicate in an effective way. There's things that you want. There's things that you want. There's things that I want, and we all want different things. But how can we all get what we want and come to an agreement about it? I think for some, isolation is safer, harder to get hurt that way. I agree. That's what I think. That's what I think as well. I think the same thing. I think this is very true. Thank you so much for that comment, Forever Ever Mama. I think that is very, very, very true. I think people just are scared, right? They're scared of being hurt, and so they get them to a ball and they invite people into their safe space, but they don't want to go to somebody else's safe space, right? Because there's no community anymore. No one's taking the time to build a community because when you think about it, it actually is very hard work. I think that knowing how to speak as someone is very important. When the isolation is stopped from publicly socializing, because everyone is scared of a numbers of things. True. No, very, very true. Very, very true. It was good. Okay. Purple app going crazy. TikTok. Y'all might want to go over there, TikTok, because Purple app going crazy right now in the chat. YouTube it. But hey, if you not, you can watch on YouTube as well. YouTube or Purple app, either one. I'm live on both. For sure though, like I agree. I definitely agree. People are definitely scared, right? People are definitely scared of, especially because we live in a cancel culture. Like, come on now, we live in a cancel culture, bro. Whether it's people, whether it's cancel culture, feminism, or red pill society, or just whatever, bro. Everyone is so afraid of getting canceled or misunderstood, or like even if it's not cancel culture, like love the hoodie, little bro. Hey, thank you. This is shout out to Cool Down Den. We getting some Cool Down Den merch. You feel me? But yeah, everyone is so afraid of. Let me see if I can actually do this a little bit. Move that over. Okay. Yeah, now y'all can see the mic. Everyone is so afraid of losing. And I'm not gonna lie, I was the same way. I was afraid of loss. I was afraid of loss, especially for me. If anybody that's really, really close to me knows my story, I have lost a lot of people in my life, especially during COVID. I had family members I had family members drop like flies during COVID, left and right, left and right. And so I've dealt with a lot of loss. W Hoodie, thank you, Telly. And so we need to get to a place to where, and the worst part about it was when I dealt with that loss, I didn't have a lot of people to talk to about it. And yeah, I mean, of course, I have a therapist now. Shout out to my therapist. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to. I can't even call her doctor, but shout out to my therapist. I'm gonna send this episode to her so maybe she can help me about it. It's a bunch of factors to take into account, but to be honest, but COVID definitely the president doesn't help it. Oh, the president definitely don't help. Oh, 100% he don't help. The president definitely does not help right now. But we're gonna make a different story for a different day. You know what I'm saying? But definitely, like, man, it's really crazy to really sit back and think about it. Like, when I thought back and about when I'm trying to look for a therapist for the first time. Right? The first time I looked for a therapist, and I tell this story all the time, it was the reason why it stopped me from wanting to go to therapy. Ava said, "Hi, Uncle Stu." Hey, Ava. When I tried to get a therapist for the first time, it took me over 3 days to find a therapist. And the reason for that is because I'm just a black man. I got told no a lot because I was a man, and it was kind of crazy. So, and I say that to say not to shine just like a negative light on therapy and all like that. Because I found a therapist, and I just didn't like that therapist. Now I have a new therapist, and I love my new therapist, and we're cool. But I say that to say there's so many. What's the word I'm looking for? Cliques all around, bro. And it was crazy because, like, think about it. Like, in high school, there's cliques. You got the jocks, you got the geeks, you got you got the skaters, or we won't watch TV. We know what type of cliques we're talking about, right? Okay, we know what type of cliques we're talking about. But man, like, the cliques is like something crazy, and how it's really grown into where we are now, right? I watch a lot of content on the daily. Being a content creator, we consume a lot of content. I consume a lot of content as a content creator, trying to stay above the wave. And while doing so, you can kind of get lost, right? Especially on TikTok and all these different places, right? Man, everything that they're teaching you. And when I looked up on how to grow as a creator, the first thing they said was find your niche, right? Find your niche. What is your niche? What is your niche? And then target that niche, right? That was the first thing it says. Find your niche, find your clique, find your niche. And I'm like, oh, that's true. That'll help you really like pinpoint, where to target and stuff. And that's cool. That's cool to have niches. But what I'm talking about today is like people don't ever try to understand the next person that's outside their niche. And so I'm gonna say this to challenge everyone watching this podcast today. I want you guys to try to learn and push yourself to try to understand someone else's niche. And I think that's the problem with not just America but the world right now. No one wants to even try to understand someone else's niche. Like, whether like they get offended just because they're part of a certain niche, when at the end of the day that might just be one side of that person. How many times have we joined a certain cliche or certain niche, and then now we're stuck in that bubble? We're stuck in that niche that we chose for ourselves. And you grow up and you go through life, you might have different dreams, Hey, and I'm gonna put it this way, because like I said, this is my community. We're talking about me today. We're talking about me, right? This episode, I'm not trying to make it self-centered, but everybody watching this channel, especially on Twitch, right? On Twitch, you guys know, TikTok not really, YouTube not really. But everybody on Twitch though, I have a certain persona on Twitch, right? Matter of fact, I'm gonna type Twitch chat. I want y'all to type right now in chat one word that comes to your head when you think of Big Stu Gaming. When you think of Big Stu Gaming, what is one word that pops in your head? And I just want to see. I'm gonna give them about 20, 30. I'm gonna give them about 10 seconds, right? And I just want to see what they type because I'm not even looking right now because I want to see what they type. You know, hey TikTok, if y'all want to see what they type, come on over to the purple app for sure. Because I'm pretty sure I think I know what they're gonna type, but I just want to see. I just want to see what they're gonna type. All right, let's see. The first word I see is freaky. That's the first word I see. Lover boy. Thank you, Winner. See, you know what I'm saying? That's why I rock with you. That's why I rock with you. You know what I'm saying? That was 2 words, but I'm gonna let it slide. You know what I'm saying? That's why I rock. Freaky, lover boy, like all of that, right? Okay, that's all 2 I saw. But that I said that to say that's kind of like the mindset, right? No, the minister is so around. Tells that. Oh, so free. So that's the thing, and I've been battling that for a while. Actually, I've been battling that freaky side. Not really. I'm not really battling the lover boy side because I am a lover boy. You know. So Winter, she knows the true me. You know what I'm saying? But no, a lot of people say I'm a freaky dude. I'm freaky. Okay, but that's just one side of me, right? And the whole point of this that I'm saying today is you we need to take time to learn everyone's sides. Everyone is not just one person. You know, I think of Telly and and I think of God fearing, right? She's a woman of the church. She goes to church. But shit, I done seen some stuff from Telly that ain't really God, you know what I'm saying? So it's like there are different everybody has multiple sides, right? Everybody has multiple sides. That's 2 words, yeah, definitely 2 words. You know, everybody has multiple sides. And I think too many times people go and they live their life only focusing on one side of a person. Whether it's in dating, whether it's in friendship, whether it's in whatever. People focus on just one side of a person. I'm gonna be honest, yes, when it comes to me, I'm a freak. I like sex. I like sexual stuff. But that's not also who I am. I am also a God-fearing man as well. You know, I am also a gamer. I am also a lover boy. I am also Stu. You know? And so we put people in the boxes. Yes, we do. We do. We do put people in the boxes. So my point is we need to stop trying to learn one side of people and learn them as a whole. Figure out who they are as a whole. Who is Stu completely? You know, I just said all those different things. I am a lover boy, freaky, God fearing all. You know what else I am? I am also madly afraid of success. It actually scares me to the point to where I self-sabotage myself. I'm also very, very depressed sometimes. A lot of times because I feel like I have so much to offer and I have so much greatness that I could do, but I don't know how to get it through to where other people can see my greatness at the same time. Like there are so many different things that I am. So yes, I try to shine the light of who I am and I try to put my light out there, right? But you know, and so I'm talking more as a receiver today. As a receiver, and this, like I said, this is just this spot. Like I said, I have no script for today's podcast. This is literally just me talking off the dome right now, off the dome. I'm in Discord with some friends, but I'm not even like they can't hear me unless they're watching the podcast. Like this is just me, raw me, no script, no nothing. This is me just thinking right now. As a receiver, I have shut myself out from so many different things because it didn't fit my niche, because it didn't fit with the niche I was going in, right? And so the bad thing about that is when I changed niches, when I changed lanes, I felt like I had to cut off that other lane. So when I switched from being all about sports and all about football and being a jock. And I want to go to NFL, but then I got to college and got a dose of what it really took to be an NFL. And I didn't want to do that no more. So that's how I want to be a coach. And then I want to be a coach to then, realizing, dang, people don't really listen to me because of my size. And so because of my size, I really can't get into coaching because I'm so freaking heavy that they won't give me the fair shot to, like, there's a lot of different things. So then I end up just working, trying to figure something else out. And then after that, COVID hit and I got depressed. I want to become a podcaster. And then from podcasting, that didn't really work out. And so then I became a gamer, and then that gamer became a streamer. And out of streamer, it led me back to podcasting. But every step of the way, I kept closing doors from other parts of my life. When the truth is, I am all of that. I love football. I can talk football all day. All fucking day. I can talk football for hours. Now, not as much as I used to because, like I said, I closed that door. I stopped caring about sports as much. Probably because, like you said, like, it was painful for me to go back there. It was painful for me to think about sports because I think about what I lost in sports. It was painful to think about podcasting. It was painful to think about all these different steps in my life because of what I lost in it, because of what I have been through in it, because of whatever. And so I just closed the door completely. And I think a lot of people do that in relationships and community. Then we have to stop doing that. You have to take the W's and the L's when you find friendships, when you find love, when you find all the different people. Don't close the door. Just walk through your new one. Just walk through your new one. Because, man, there are some friends that I met in my football space that I would love to bring into my podcast space. There are some people in my gaming slash podcast space that I would love to introduce to my football people. And it's so crazy to where I don't know if anybody else has this trouble or this problem. I feel like we all do. But because I'm in different niches, like, it's hard to get my one friend over here to come to my one friend over here. Like, I'm the type of person, I want all of my friends. Maybe I'm just selfish, but my bad. I want all of my friends to spend time with me at the same time. So the only way that can happen is if this friend over here is also friends with this friend over here, even though there's differences. For instance, like, Winter is watching my stream right now. I love Winter. She's awesome. She's a great mother. She's also a weeb. She loves anime. Super great into anime. She's she's deep into anime. She's real deep anime. Way more than I ever am. Way more. But it's hard to, like, how can I spend more time with her when I say my main cliche? It's like we're mostly gaming and we're playing, like, Call of Duty, and it's not really, like, the niche don't connect, right? Now I'm sure if they ever did meet and we all came together, we'd be cool. But it's the point is, like, that initial interaction, right? You know, she doesn't really play Warzone. She doesn't play Arc Raiders. She plays Fortnite. You know, and this goes vice versa. How do I get my football people to come to my streams? I've talked to some of them, people I played football with in college and high school and stuff like that. Hey, come on to the stream, and bro, you play video games? What the hell? And so it's like it's always crazy. Now, one thing I have said is a blessing about this podcast. More people are willing to come together from different sides and different facets of my life to the podcast. And I think that's because, nigga, we all like to talk. We all like to talk. Everybody love to talk. Everybody loves to talk. And so that's why I think as a podcast, it's a lot easier for me to get the people from different walks of life to come onto the podcast because we all like to talk. I think that's what it is, right? As a woman, I've noticed that society is set up to help females, but men are supposed to be super strong. Lack of outlets and support for them is rare. And I'm so proud that you are so transparent. And it took me a long time to get here, right? It took me a long time. Hey, why does her message cover my face? Hey, that's crazy, actually. That's actually crazy. I'm gonna see how I can fix that for next week because that message just covered my entire face. Like, I don't want to be here. But no, so yeah. This is not going to be a 2-hour podcast. My podcasts are usually 2 hours. It's not going to be 2 hours. But I say this to say, hey, man, I want to thank everybody for being here, because you guys, whether you watch with TikTok or whatever, man, my whole point is community needs to stay alive. We have to learn to love and be a part of every facet of a person's life, right? If you want to cut somebody off for who they are as a whole, not because you didn't like that they did one thing on one day. And I'm talking to myself when I say this as well. Just because a person said something you didn't like doesn't mean they're a terrible person. Just because they said one thing on TikTok, or they said one thing on YouTube, or they said one thing on Twitter, does not mean does not make them the Antichrist. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to do our due diligence in building a community, right? We need to vet humans better. We need to vet them better and into our friends groups and be more open hearted. I understand it's hard. Because, man, there's a lot of bad out there. There's a lot of bad out there in the world. And maybe I'm just having a pipe dream. And maybe my heart's too big and I'm just saying some crazy off the wall shit. And people watching this right now and they saying this nigga sound crazy as hell. Maybe I'm just a dreamer. But when I look at society right now, all I can see is so much pain and hurt that people just don't even want to take the next step. Like I said, this podcast episode was supposed to be talking about how men are not spending money on women no more, and they're becoming financially celibate. And that's what this week was supposed to be about, right? I made the flyer for it and everything. It was crazy. I made the flyer for it. But when I went back and thought about it, I was like, yo, that's not the problem. Men are only taking their money in it, and they're not spending money on females because they kept getting scammed by women. And women are only becoming celibate or scamming because they got hurt by men. And so it becomes a very vicious cycle. Some women are very ungrateful. Whew. Like I said, there's any podcast for that. But just know we're gonna get into it. So I want to hear from you guys. Whether you're on TikTok, you're on a Purple app or YouTube, whatever. I want to hear from you guys. What are some ways that we can fix and heal as a community? Like, to where we can open our hearts again. The youth don't even respect the elderly anymore. Women don't trust men. Men don't trust women. I mean, gays don't even trust straights. Everybody is new to just act crazy and crazy. Like, no, there's no community. No one wants to just, hey, bro, hey, no one wants to just go to a new person and say, hey, that's you. One of the great things I love about my community, community, is that people see Stu, right? Shout out to my boy Jay Mello. Shout out to my homegirl Cat Nasty. You know what I love about those two motherfuckers? They didn't see me do some crazy shit the last 5-6 years. Some crazy shit. And even, especially Cat. She done caught the brunt of it from me. And even through all of that, they still wake up every day. They text me, what up, Stu? What's your plans for the day? Love you, brother. Are you going through it? I feel you. Same as well. But it's still love. It's still community. Even though there are times me and Cat bash each other's heads in. There are times Jade says, Stu, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, even though we butt heads, even though, like, my boy Rio being in the Twitch era now, I've known him since diapers, right? So when I was talking about me growing up in Kit, he was right there with me. Rio B can tell you about Kit and how that entire city was a community, right? And he's the only person as of right now that I grew up with in diapers, and so he can tell you about the community as well. And so I can say, after leaving, and I've told him the same thing. He talks about how he wants to leave Ohio and shit. I'm like, yo, like, no, stay your ass there. There ain't shit for you, cuz. Ain't shit for you out there. Because there's no community out there. And so I say this. Before I say to me, Support because the more we support, the more community expands and spreads positivity. Ain't no one in this damn world perfect. Ain't no one in this world perfect. Ain't no one in this world perfect. And so that's why we need to support people through their imperfections. Because man, there was a lot of times when I did some shit and I said some shit and I was weak to where if Kat and Jay wanted to drop me, they could have. Shit, they should have. But it was through that they chose to say, nah, bro, I'm gonna stick with you. You gonna be good. Because who you are in this moment is not who you are at your core. So you gonna get out of this shit and we're gonna be cool. Simple as that. You know? And no one wants to love somebody out of it no more. So I'm actually about to end the podcast here. I'm starting it here, but I just want to challenge everyone watching this podcast right now. This week, as you go through your week this week, make sure you guys are looking at who you're talking to as a human being, not as an ATM, not as a therapist, not as just some homegirl you work with or some home dude you work with. Who is insert name here? Who is Telly? Who is Winner? Who is Rio? You know what I'm saying? Let me show some love to TikTok here. Okay, I ain't gonna say who is that bitch because I mean that's your TikTok name, but who is Jerome? You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of who is Cam? Who is Cameron Johnson? Who are these people? Stop trying to figure out who they are to you. Figure out who they are, period. And then once you not as a booty call. No, not as a booty call. Yeah, Real, you right. Who are they past the booty call? Because there's a lot of things. And you know what's crazy? I've learned this from just living life and asking myself the question: who are you past that? Yeah, it's cool. I have a lot of sex workers on my Twitter. You know what I'm saying? A lot of freaky people on my Twitter. And I started to ask the question: who are you past that? Because I know that being a content creator I love being a content creator is really, really opened my brain up to past this that we're talking about, right? But I've really started to ask the question, who are you past that camera? Who are you past whatever you show to your world? You know what I'm saying? And so because having friends in the sex industry, I've started to talk to people in the sex industry. And I asked them all the same question. What do you do when you're not doing that? Because I don't know about y'all, but sex only lasts about 45 minutes to an hour. You know what I'm saying? Can we be real here for a second? I know people like to say they like to have it go for hours and hours and hours and hours. I say hours and hours. And that's a W song. But let's be real here. So I started asking the question, what do you for the other 23 hours for the day? And so by doing I got a lot of different answers. Some of them said, no, 15 minutes, I'm good. Hey, 15 minutes. You feel what I'm saying? But like, and I got a lot of different answers. And a lot of time the women would tell me, yeah, you know what? I'm a mother. I'm only doing this to make money for my daughter or for my son. I feel that. I fucks with that. I'm getting money just to make it through college. I feel that. I fucks with that. Now, I think only one or two times. There's only been one or two times where I've talked to a female and I asked that question and they said, I just like to fuck. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no judgment over here. If you just like to do that and you want to share that, hey, do you, boo boo. You know what I'm saying? That's you. And if that's your story, that's your testimony, then go ahead. But I think that we need to get to the point to where be real about it. Be real about it. We need to start being real about who we are as a whole. We need to stop trying to put ourselves in niche because that's what's causing so much depression in America and in the world. Everybody's trying to fit into a box that they're not. So fuck the box. Be you. Be you. And for everybody on the receiving side, be willing to learn who that person is. And then from that point, we can have a different discussion about whether you want somebody in your life or not or whatever. But my whole point of today's podcast, was just to get on and tell people, hey, can we start loving again? It starts with parents though. Coming from a mom of 3, I see the problem. Some women are okay. So Winter said, she's talking about women are ungrateful. It's coming from the parenting. And that's it. I think it's more than just that. I think it's more than just that, Winter. And until during your current life. Okay, man. Not TikTok trying to shut me down. What? What? TikTok trying to shut me down just now. But yeah, I think it gets to the point to where like, for real, like people really need to take time. So we're building a community this year. We're building love. We're getting back to the basics and the roots because I want our future kids to grow up the way I grew up in Kent, to where no matter where I was in those city limits, I felt at home in those city limits. And it is crazy because, like I said, I'm talking about in the city limits. I'm not talking about my house. I'm not talking about 409 Borough Drive. That was my address. Whatever. I don't live there no more. You can do what you want with it. 409 Borough Drive. I'm talking past that. Even when I left that house, I still felt at home because I could walk down the street. There was a Burger King right to my house. I knew everybody worked at that Burger King. Well, I went to the movie theaters. Hey, Mario, how many times did we just go to the movie theaters and we ain't had no money to get in? But you know what? Because we knew somebody at the movie theater, they let us in. Moments like that. It's a little small rinky-dink movie theater there. In a plaza. You know what I'm saying? And we got in just because, off of friends. And even if there was somebody that was working there that we didn't really know, paying for the movies, yeah, right. No, exactly. You feel me? Paying for the movies, yeah, right. I think I only paid for one movie, and it was Star Wars. And was it Star Wars or was it Marvel? It was one of the two, either Star Wars or Marvel. And that's because it was like the head honchos were there, and they were trying to really make sure shit was there. But yeah, we didn't pay for that movies back then. You feel me? So my whole point is this, man. Let's get back to love. Let's get back to love. Let's get back to love. Stop judging people off of first encounters. Really take time to invest in people because the investment will pay off. I'm not just saying this to everybody. I'm not just preaching on a soapbox or whatever. Bro, I've been saying the same thing to myself, man. Like, yo, I want to build this community. And if you're scared to put yourself out there, come on over to the Purple app. I'm gonna post my Discord in the comments. I just built a brand new Discord. And if you guys want to, I try to make sure there's a lot of rooms. We need to learn to love people at their lowest at the same time they at their height. Let's get back to, because that's what a community is. We love people at their lowest and at their height. I'm gonna rock with you whether you worth $1 or whether you worth $1 million. I'm always gonna rock with you. Consistency, community is what we need to build. No more isolation. No more isolation. We're gonna get past that. We're gonna get past isolation and get to real love. I want to thank everybody that's in the podcast this week, man. Thank everybody who was here watching. Next week, we're talking is part 2 of this podcast, of this series that I'm doing. We're talking about community. Next week, we're talking about isolationism and why has isolation become this big thing, right? Why is it easier? When did it start? Where did it start? So if you guys want to be a guest on our podcast, shoot me a DM, whether it's in TikTok or whatever. Shoot me a DM, say, "Hey, Stu, I want to be on that show. I want to be on your podcast." And let me know. Next week, Sunday, 3 p.m. because it's gonna be a banger, bro. It's gonna be a banger. And then a week after that is the final episode of this series. It's gonna be episode 3 of this, and we're talking about Willie Lynch because in my head, Willie Lynch is the one who started the deconstruction of community as a whole, especially in the Black community. But it wasn't what. Yes, Black community got it the hardest. But they're not the only ones who got it. They're not the only ones who got it. So whether you guys want to be part of the isolationist episode or whether you guys want to be part of the Willie Lynch episode, I would love to have you guys as a guest. Shoot me a DM. We'd love to have you, man. But with that being said, man, hey, thanks for so much, everybody. Mario said he down. Definitely would love to be a guest. Okay, sis, I got you. We go, yeah. Okay, so let's just build a community. Let's get back to community. Hey, TikTok. I want y'all to be part of this episode. Hey, cuz, I see you. I wanted you to be part of this episode because community is a thing. And all of this is my community. Whether it's Big Stu Gaming on here, Big Stu Gaming on YouTube, Big Stu Gaming on Twitch. I'm more than just Big Stu Gaming. And so if you guys are looking for a community to where you guys can just be yourself, whether it's the freaky side of you, whether you a mother, whether you a father, whether you're a gamer, whether you a lover, it don't matter. I love everybody. And everybody who rocks with me also loves everybody. So in my community here in Stewville, we're going to love you through whatever. Because I understand that the dark side of you is not the only side. The horny side of you is not the only side. The moments when you crash out is not the only side. So if you guys want to be part of the community who is not going to just shun you, come on over to Discord. Come on over to the Purple app TikTok and type an exclamation point Discord. And matter of fact, I'm about to type it. I'm about to put the link to the Discord in the chat right now. Where's that? Right here. I'm putting the link to the Discord in the chat right now because I need everybody to get up in this Discord to where we can actually. Hold on, I'm posting it. I'm posting it in the chat right now. All right, okay. I pinned it. We need to get to it. Everybody join the new Discord. I worked really hard to build this Discord. Okay, and obviously as a subscriber, you get higher tiers and stuff like that. But we'll get to that. The biggest point is we need to get to having a community. All right, so thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you guys want to be a guest, let me know. W Podcast, thank you, Telly. If you guys want to be part of next week or the week after, let me know. All right. Always remember, and I'm gonna end this podcast the way I end it for all of my streams as well. Make sure you guys kiss them, you hug them, you tell them that you love them, because you never know how long it's gonna be here, man. Let's build community. Let's build love. Let's bring it back. All right. It's your boy Stu, and I catch y'all next week, 3 p.m. right here on Big Stu Gaming. See y'all next time. Peace.